Dr. Portahimi is an unbelievable man. The research he's done is across so many different areas of our life. And he does it with enthusiasm, but he also uses it so effectively as a teaching tool.
He's been a longtime member of our faculty, a distinguished member of the faculty, and it's great recognition for him to get the Omax Gardner Award, and well deserved. I mean, this is a man who's done so much in the area of textile technology. His work spans everything from filtration of blood to water to a lot of work for the military, and almost every sector of the economy has been touched by Benham's outstanding research.
His success in research has led to really new fields in the application of nonwovens. Most of his innovations based on that area, but if you look at the need for the Omax Gardner Award, it's difficult to pin it down, but in terms of service to humanity, in terms of things like filtering water, filtration, medical textiles, protective clothing for soldiers, he covers a really wide gamut. And all of these have spin-offs.
Dr. Benham Portahimi has spent the past 20-plus years working to establish and expand the Nonwovens Institute within North Carolina State's College of Textiles. His journey to state has brought him from the United Kingdom, with multiple major U.S. university stops along the way.
I was studying in UK, and when I was looking at doing a PhD program, I was looking at opening up possibilities of perhaps going elsewhere. And so I contacted NC State, I contacted MIT and Clemson and a couple of other places, and that's how I got to know one of the professors, who was actually an English professor here at NC State by the name of Peter Lord. As it turns out, I didn't come here. I went to University of Leeds and did my PhD. And Professor Lord came to Leeds to visit, and we met, and he remembered my application, and he said, "Why don't you come to NC State?" And I said, "Fine." And so that's how I ended up here. So some of the face masks, for example, have to capture 99% of particles down to 0.3 microns or less.
By 1998, the Institute had grown beyond most of the funding opportunities of the National Science Foundation and needed to redesign its business model. Dr. Portahimi worked with the member companies of the Institute to define industry needs and student partnerships.
And part of that was building the infrastructure, the facilities, the talents, the know-how, and really becoming that global resource for this industry. And I think we've done that after about 15, 16 years. It's been a lot of really interesting work, and a lot of that wisdom comes from the companies that we work with.
If you look at Benham, I think he's got three great loves: his family, hunting, and work. And the last two I pursue with him. And he's a character. When he's hunting, he sees things that nobody else sees. He's there and he brings in the game. And I think it's the same when he's at work. He's a visionary. We'll be sitting discussing a problem. He'll see straight through it. He'll see where the opportunity is.
Nonwovens have been around since World War II, when the Navy began making nonwoven fiber air filters. Now Dr. Portahimi has over 80 patents and has transformed the use of nonwovens into products that are used across all areas of life, including your HVAC systems, auto air filters, and water filters.
One of the focus areas is what we call high surface area and large volume development of microfiber and nanofibers. That requires new material processing technologies, new nozzle designs for things like melt blowing and other process technologies that we have. It also requires that now we take these structures and functionalize them so that high surface area nonwoven can, for example, act as a protein separation device and separate one protein from another, and so on and so forth. So we have a whole series of programs here at NC State. At the last count, I think we have 45 PhD students who are focused on a lot of these types of enabling technologies that go from material and process technology to functionalization.
He has over 150 students that have graduated with master's or PhD degrees. They're out in the workplace making products to make our lives easier and better. There's actually 4 here at Freudenberg. They're working on automotive products. They're working on filter products to have our air cleaner when we breathe it. and they're making an impact today. So I think that impact with the students is just outstanding.
Nonwovens is now an international industry, helping with the continued growth of third world countries needing water filtration and air filtration. Hospitals have seen one of the biggest uses of the designs, with disposable filters, gowns, and masks helping to prevent spread of disease. Even simple items such as baby wipes, synthetic leather and shoes, and automobile interiors are made with nonwovens.
In North America, we have about 600 companies that sort of speak nonwovens. But if you look at globally, if we are classified in terms of material suppliers, nonwoven producers, machinery makers, and then what we call converters or downstream processors. If you look at the people that actually make nonwovens, the industry globally is dominated by 40 companies, about 30 of whom actually have a presence in North Carolina.
And also he has brought together the nonwovens world. There's pilot lines. We can develop products at NC State through the Nonwovens Institute, and these products are cutting-edge products going out into the world today.
So Benham is a great example of somebody at NC State that thinks the deepest thoughts and the most technical innovation, but he also does. He thinks and he puts his work into practice, and that's what we're so proud of.
Dr. Benham Portiemi is a 2015 OMAX Gardner Award winner for his work in nonwovens.
The reason perhaps that I have won this is the NC State recognition that what we do matters to our students, our industry, in terms of knowledge creation all the way to economic development. And I happen to be the head of the group and I get the award, but I think the award goes to everybody who's involved.